Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of the Fan Zone. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition.
Uh-oh. I hear it on your end.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm just sharing, but welcome. Now, Manny, I don't know why you're not showing yourself. Your Raiders won this week. I'm not sure why your camera's not on.
I got a surprise. Hold on.
Let me introduce my co-host that's with me every week, the leader of the Raider Nation in New York City, David Carr's favorite fan, Mr. Manny Schefter himself. I think he has a surprise for everybody. Manny, let's see it.
Nah, no surprise. Come on, man. I had to disappoint everybody really quick.
You disappoint me like Carr does in the playoffs. Oh, come on.
First off, get it correctly. His name is Derek Carr, not David.
Carr's his brother.
We understand his brother was better, yet he had the worst O-line in history. We understand that.
He will always
just put respect on my man's name.
He will.
He's leading the league in passing yards.
He will always be David Carr to me. He'll be David Carr's little brother. I need to pronounce his name as Derek Carr. He's David Carr's little brother. But we'll get to your team. We'll get to everything. Yo, how you doing? Another week, another day here on the Fan Zone. We are here live on the Sports Hit List by the fans for the fans. I'm pumped this week. I don't know why I should be because of my teams, but I'm pumped this week. How you feeling?
I'm good, man. Just don't try to throw anything because I know it'll get intercepted. We know how that goes. All right. Just throwing that. Just what, 4 times? 4 times? I got to throw a little spice in there.
Listen, you got your hands this week, I see. Okay. You came for violence. Yeah. All right. Well,
I'm good, though.
Let's jump right into it. We're a little behind because you can't work technology, but that's a different story.
I don't know what you're talking about.
With that being said, we had week 2 of the NFL. We had some good games. We had some good matchups. Listen, our teams had polar opposites. Your team actually came to play. Our team decided that they forgot where their home field was and didn't know where they were throwing the ball. But that's a different story for a different day and for a different segment. But I got to tell you, the game of the week for me had to be the Chiefs versus the Ravens.
Yes, sir.
Game
I loved it.
Had me on the edge of my seat the entire game. That was playoff caliber football. I gotta tell you.
That felt like the AFC Championship right there.
Yes. And a lot of people were like, oh, is that Lamar's biggest win? And people were like, no, it's just a regular season week 2. To me,
it was a huge win.
That was a huge win for him because he exercised certain skeletons that are in his closet when it comes to the Chiefs. He usually doesn't show up, but he showed up. And kudos to the coach. Kudos to Harbaugh saying, Lamar, you want to go for it? You want to go for it on 4th and 1?
Basically, he trusted his quarterback. And it goes to show you that all the coaches in the league should be taking note of that. If you don't trust your quarterback, guess what? You're not going to win anything. You have to take those risks. Yeah. Kind of reminds me back when Jack Del Rio was coaching the Raiders a few years ago. The first game of the season, I believe it was 2016. We played against the Saints away. First game of the season. What happens? We tie the game. Coach goes, you know what? I trust you. Go for the 2-pointer. Let's win the game. That's it. Not a regular. You do the extra point, you tie the game. He said, nah, let's go for it. Let's go out with a win. He took that risk, and guess what? He trusted Derek Carr, and Derek Carr came in clutch with that. And we won the game because of that. Now, again, I'm not saying Derek Carr is Lamar Jackson. No, that's a whole different breed right there. Lamar Jackson came out and showed out, especially missing majority of his players.
Yeah.
This man had no running back. Let's not forget, they barely lost to the Raiders. Mm-hmm. My team barely won that game. And it's like I said last week, Raiders are going to Raiders. Just shout out to Paul Lawson for that. And Rick Etienne, you still going to catch your hands after that whole statement you had me going through last week. I'm recovered. I'm better now. But I just want to say that definitely was playoff football right there.
It was. And we actually had a debate about Lamar at the end.
Yes.
The way he celebrated. I actually
stop
listen, it. Listen, I took a little offense to it only because yes, it felt like playoff football. But then again, It was week 2. That man had wide open to walk right into the end zone. He had to do a cartwheel. Now I understand. Listen, he is excited. He just took the lead. I understand all that, but it kind of goes to the proverbial bat flip, at the end of a game.
That was warranted. That was warranted.
I don't know though, because listen, what if he gets hurt? What if he gets hurt?
That was his choice at the end of the day.
Exactly, but you're listen, you are
Mike, can you do a cartwheel, Mike?
Absolutely not. Have you seen me? Gravity pulls me down.
Let me tell you something right now. I could barely do a cartwheel. Okay,
I can't even do a forward roll. I just
do it. He was experiencing that, and he most likely planned that. And there was not wrong with it because there was nobody else around him. And the thing is, you think about it with the taunting penalties, these ridiculous taunting penalties that are currently going on in the NFL. He actually found a way to bypass that without getting fined or getting a penalty for it. Don't quote me on it, but from what I've seen, he didn't get fined for that or penalized for it. And guess what? I enjoy that because you know what the Chiefs can do with that? They can be like, oh, he just gave you the big F you. He gave us the big middle finger to our face. Guess what? When we see you again in the playoffs, it's going to be a whole different ballgame. Because not only that, I believe the DBs and the Ravens were talking smack. I forgot the gentleman's name. He tweeted out.
Yeah, Tyreek Hill, right?
He tweeted out to Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill was double team majority of the game. Paul Kesey mentioned that. But I said all great wide receivers get double teamed. They still put up numbers regardless. Why? Because the QB still going to throw it to them at the end of the day. Mahomes didn't force it to him. So, granted, I'm not going to crack on Mahomes. Mahomes is one of the greatest quarterbacks in the league. And he probably will be all time eventually. But his career is not over yet. But the DB on the Ravens, like Clampington, he tweeted that out. And Tyreek Hill said, we'll keep that same energy when we see you the next time. And, the only time we're going to see them next is playoffs. Mm-hmm. So that's going to be probably the most watched playoff game. I'm just throwing that out there right now. If they play each other, AFC Championship, and my Raiders don't make it, I will love that. I will love to watch the Ravens Chiefs, but I want the Ravens fully healthy. Unfortunately, we're not going to see that because 2 of their running backs out for the season.
Yeah. But don't forget, they picked up a couple of guys, didn't they? Pick up they picked up Le'Veon Bell, right? And they picked up Murray.
He's on the practice squad. Latavius Murray already played.
But what's going on with Le'Veon Bell? Why is he still on the practice squad?
I don't know. I picked him up in fantasy thinking, he'll make some work for me later on. If I try to make a playoff push, I could use him as a bargaining chip. The way Travis has been throwing these ridiculous, outlandish trades when he's trying to sneak away and try to get these players for nothing. I'm going to shout him out on that. And shout out to Greg for pointing him out on Smoke and Mirrors about that.
Actually,
but anyways,
I want to jump
what other game?
Well, I want to
okay.
No. So I see in the comments, shout out to Rick, to Ricardo in regards to saying that QB coach, relationship is what every organization needs. That's something that Aaron Rodgers needs. There's been a lot of times where Aaron Rodgers has been put in a position where he's been pulled when he's wanted to take over the game. And I only give Aaron Rodgers as an example because a lot of people come at Aaron Rodgers saying he's being a baby. That to me is sportsmanship. And the reason why I say that's sportsmanship, and it's not different. Yes. All right. I only say the Lamar Jackson, the reason why he flipped and Eddie's yelling at me going, no, we need celebrations like that. The reason why.
Yes, we do, Eddie. I agree.
Is because I don't want him to get hurt. Because I want to see him play an entire season. I'm worried about him getting hurt. And that's my thing when it's unnecessary. If he was diving over defenders, I understand that he has to do whatever he can do. But being wide open, just tiptoe right in.
Nobody was near him. He could do whatever he can. And but the thing is, he trusted himself in not getting hurt. That's the thing. A lot of these players have celebrated and have torn their hamstrings and stuff because they try to overdo it or oversell the celebration. So he did it. Like I said, he found a way to celebrate and taunt without getting penalized or fined. So shout out to Eddie for that. I appreciate you for that. But the Yankees are still losing. I don't want to hear it.
Well, listen. So So let's get into some other games this week, or just
Packers.
some teams. The Packers game, I feel bad for that man that bet $25 for a chance for $736,000. He did a 16-team parlay. My man, I am with you today.
Oh man,
I feel for you.
My condolences.
16 for 16. You don't ever go with the Lions. What is wrong with you?
Especially after Aaron Rodgers
God.
heard so much chatter from every single sports analyst who was ridiculing him, especially the good old Stephen A. Smith. You know, that's his man because he's a bad man, all that stuff. But he came out. Thank God for Aaron Jones because he saved me in 2 fantasy leagues. I was down 22 in one, 31 in another, and he put up 40 for me. So thank God for him. Devontae Adams actually put up 20 points for me, thank God. So he carried me in 2 other leagues. I came back once. So I won 7 out of my 3 leagues, out of my 10 leagues. I got to tell you,
so I'm watching the game last night, and I just discovered this. I didn't watch it week 1, but the best TV show for me now is Peyton and Eli commentating the game. That is one of the best things I have seen since sliced bread. That is phenomenal. That is phenomenal. The way they joke with each other. Shout out to Peyton calling out the Pats with Spygate yesterday.
I knew that was coming.
I knew that was coming. Yo, the comments they made, they were going. I have to appreciate the way they were going after Gronk too. Gronk, I think, fell asleep halfway through his interview, and they were
Gronk is living life, man.
Well, he is, and he's on
Gronk. Gronk just shows everybody that he really doesn't need football. This man just literally flat out said he doesn't watch film. He just has somebody tell him who guarded him. That's really it. This man makes football look so easy because when we see him on screen, it's insane. He just catches every single week. He just delivers. Tom Brady throws him the ball every time, and he's there.
He's on pace right now to be over 30 touchdowns because he's had 2 a game for the last 2 weeks, if not more. And listen, I have to say it. I'm gonna say it.
Are we seeing evolution?
No,
we're seeing the evolution.
I am not. I don't know. I am not Declan. I am not Declan. I do not change my feelings. I do not change my feelings.
Declan has evolved.
I am not Declan. I apologize, Declan. You're my boy, but I am not Declan. But I will say, Tom Brady, at his age, with the weapons he's had, has really shown up. He made some plays in that last game, even though the defense really stepped up too, putting Matt Ryan on his back and intercepting him twice towards the end of that game. But Tom Brady's done what Tom Brady needed to do. I hate him, but I can appreciate what he said about when they were like, oh, he threw for 5 touchdowns. He said, yeah, I can do better. So listen, that's a little cockiness to him. That's his caliber. I appreciate that. And we're actually going to talk about cockiest athletes in a little while, but he did well. I have to give my hat though this week. I got to tip my hat to Trav's boy, Sam Darnold.
Your former boy, bro.
Yes, he has really stepped up over the past 2 weeks, and it shows what I'm going to be talking about in a few minutes about my New York Jets. But it shows that sometimes a change of scenery does very well for certain players. So kudos to him. I don't ever think, and I said it in comments last night, the other day, I don't ever think Sam was the issue. Sam was never the issue with the Jets organization.
It was just Mr. Gase. That dude Gase, bro.
It was Gase. Look at what he's had in the past with other quarterbacks, how poorly they played. Tannehill. He was his QB coach, offensive coordinator for Tannehill. And then he comes down and look what happens, right? He was his coach. All these different things just represent that a coach-QB relationship, as Rick brought up and going full circle, really has a dynamic on how a player is going to play. So I tip my hat to Sam. He's doing his thing. He's got, I think, 5 touchdowns, 1 interception, over 500 yards so far in 2 games, and he's helping them win. And you know what? They already are solid with that offense, and he just made it more solid. That's why we also never should have gotten rid of Robbie Anderson. But I digress for a second, because what I want to talk about is your Raiders. Your Raiders 2-0. 2-0. I never thought I would say that in the same sentence. But I have to say, I picked them this week. You gotta give me kudos.
I know you and Greg
against Trav. Against Trav.
Everybody picked against them.
I actually have to wait for our maestro, Carl, to let us know who won between me and Trav for this week's pick'ems. It was a little tough. He had Carolina and he had the Pats. I had the Jets and I didn't have Carolina, so I think I was 0-2 right there. So we'll see how it panned out towards the end.
I got 9. I think I got 9 wins this week.
Okay.
I'm not sure. But speaking of the Raiders, I loved it. Great game. Only highlight though was on Sports Center. I know for a fact they had to show it. I seen it on a couple Instagram videos and Facebook. Najee Harris completely gave the impression of Derrick Henry to my man Jonathan Abram and just completely stiff-armed this man to another universe. Holy smoke. I was like, damn, Najee, he's a good one. Shout out to Eric, man. You know, he's a Steeler fan. He's probably the only one I respect. But other than that, I just loved how Henry Ruggs has been looking this past couple weeks. So far, I know it's only 2 weeks in, but the offense is looking good. But again, it was never the offense that scared me. It was the defense. And despite Max Crosby not getting a sack, he still pressured him. I mean, Ben Roethlisberger took a big hit from 2 of them, from Crosby and I believe number 90. I forgot his name. But we got a couple sacks on him. We got a pick from him, thank God. And, one thing that kind of bothered me, though, with Mike Tomlin was towards the end of the game, the last play pretty much. You're down 9. There's like 20 seconds left or whatever. Why you have you guys on there? Put your reserves or whatever. Like, I get it. There's no way you can win in 20 seconds. The game is over. You're down 9. You're not going to win. And Deontay Johnson, one of his best receivers, ends up it looks like he broke his ankle. I don't know if they did an MRI yet. I don't know if it's official, but it looked like he broke his ankle on that play. On the last play of all things, you risk getting one of your best receivers injured. You know, it's questionable, but you know what? Mike Tomlin has done great things with the Steelers regardless. Good or bad, he's consistent as a coach, and I got to give it to him. But on that play alone, I'm just saying right now, you really took a huge risk and getting your player hurt. Because I hopefully it doesn't bite him later on in the season, depending on the severity of the injury. But that could have been preventable, you know.
So I will say, I watched some of that game. I was watching the red zone and everything, and Derek Carr, as you like.
Put some respect on my man's name.
I will give him respect only for this segment because he was throwing some bombs, especially to Ruggs, wide open in the secondary. He threw 40. What was it, 40 to 45 yarder?
It was a 61. It was a 61 yarder. The thing was on that play. So one thing I'm noticing with that on that play particularly, if you notice how there were 2 guys there guarding him, he really burned the safety at the end of the day, the guy in the further back, because the other person that was there that got cooked by him was keeping his eye out on Waller, because that's one thing I love about Waller. Everybody's gonna try to crowd him because we know that's Derek Carr's number 1 guy.
Of course. At
the end of the day, we didn't have no Josh Jacobs, but one thing I can say that I love about this offense is everybody catches the ball. Mm-hmm. And the thing is, Derek Carr places the ball. There was a scary moment, though, when he did throw that touchdown, beautifully placed in the corner. I forgot the Steeler player's name. He decided to go at Derek Carr's ankle after the play, and I'm like, hold on. When players do that to the QB, this league protects their quarterbacks, right? Why wasn't that guy penalized or anything like that for going at his ankle at the end of the play? Like,
it was more like a chop block to a certain degree.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because I've seen the Raiders get penalized thousands of times for tackling the quarterback on the leg or injure their ankle or whatever. They get penalized thousands of times, 100%. And I know it's the Raiders. I get it. We get penalized all the time. Trust me. Don't remind me of it. I expect 10 penalties a game every week with the Raiders, regardless, offense or defense. But that was a dirty play. They're not going to talk about it. And again, like I said, with the media, they don't talk about the Raiders. They only talk about when they get shellacked. That's really it. The Raiders beat the Steelers. Yes, it was a toss-up last week against the Ravens because we literally had the game won at the 1-yard line and we coughed up an interception. Thank God the defense did the best they could. But then this week, we actually beat a real good team and yet we get no respect. And it's like, okay, we got the Dolphins this week. Granted, I don't even know how that's gonna go because the Dolphins lost this week.
Yeah, it all depends, and
That's
it all
the
depends
thing,
if Tua
too.
is playing. I don't, and maybe Ricardo can give us a little insight on that because I know he was at the game with a rib injury, right? And he was out of the game with a rib injury. So I'm trying to figure out if he's even playing this week. I mean, as AFC East goes, I'm wondering, how long is he out for? If he is out, if not, and he's only day to day, we'll see what happens. But I want to flip over to the AFC East for a second.
Okay, by all means.
The polar opposite of how your team played, as you mentioned, with pinpoint passing, people catching the ball. We have the New York Jets. We have Zach Wilson.
Oh, there goes that vein. There goes that vein, Mike.
Second start of his career. Defense comes out hot, ready, putting Mac Jones on his ass, ready to go. Zach Wilson overthrows the ball and throws his first interception. Then we get the ball back, throws a second interception. I think his first maybe 5 or 6 attempts, 4 interceptions.
Jesus. You might as well go over there and throw, bro.
my problem with it is a lot of people, fans of the New York Jets, have put so much pressure so far on Zach Wilson that he's this all-star, not remembering he's still a rookie. Charlie brought it up. Charlie, shout outs to Charlie for talking about it as a New York Jets fan. This was going to be a building year, a rebuilding year. We need to find the chemistry. I think what the problem is, as a Jets fan, is Zach Wilson is trying to do too much because of the media presence and because of the pressure the media has put on him. Essentially, they've not even put him as a rookie anymore, that he is the star of the team.
That's what it is being in New York, bro.
Yes, but
the New York media is going to try to get you every time.
But remember, with other quarterbacks, who is the backup to Zach Wilson? Mike White. Mike White.
I don't even know who that is.
Exactly. That is my point. There's no veteran presence. And that makes, listen, we're going to have our hiccups because we're the youngest team. But there is no veteran presence behind Zach Wilson to help him learn more of the tactics of the game. That is the first thing. What hurts me as a fan is the Jets organization does this every time. They sell high on a quarterback, making him out to be the next Joe Namath, making him the next Peyton Manning, as other stars were, before they're even ready. There's no development. They're thrown right to the wolves, and as they are having their rookie hiccups that they're supposed to have. Rookies are supposed to have hiccups. The fans want it automatically game one to be able to say he threw for 600 yards and 15 touchdowns, instead of understanding he's got to be able to find his groove. Now, Charlie brought up in here about LaFleur. LaFleur needs to teach Zach Wilson how to check down. There were too many times that I saw last game that we could have checked the ball down for a 10-yard gain, and he was going for the 25-yarder. Overthrowing, and that's where the interceptions were coming into play. And they were on second down plays. They weren't even on third down. You need to get that 10 and gone. They were on second down plays where our running game was solidified. Our running game did pretty well. And shout out to the defense. The defense, and I don't know why some people want to be on the Jets defense, because they're the only ones that come to play half the time. We've seen it the last 2 years. They're the ones that put their asses on the line every single game. They play their hearts out, and then the offense comes out and they shit the bed. Excuse my French, but they shit the bed. Now, yes, as Carl has brought up, is it only week 2? Absolutely. And I'm not knocking Zach Wilson. I knew there was going to be days like this. Mama told me there'll be days like this. I knew that. What I'm frustrated with, and I think what other fans are frustrated with, and this is why it's not just week 2 for us as fans of an organization, it's the same thing every year.
Never-ending cycle.
It's a never-ending cycle, exactly. And that is my problem, is there's never any growth. We take 3 steps ahead and then take 5 steps back, and we're back where we were. To show you and to prove my point, Sam was not the problem.
Nope, as it shows.
He's rolling in Carolina. He's not the problem. Zach is not the problem. It's not the coaches either. The coaches are learning with Zach.
Hold on, don't you have Joe Flacco as your backup as well?
No, he went to the Eagles.
Oh, he's gone. Oh,
he went to the Eagles. We had him last year, and I think there should have been games where they should have played him instead, right? To give Sam maybe I need to practice on a couple of things. Maybe that would have helped him, even though again it wasn't Sam's fault.
So
the situation.
I just got word. Shout out to my uncle Adam Schefter here. He just said that RG3 has been training to make a NFL comeback and hoping to even try out to play for the Washington football team again. So just a little alert if nobody has Adam Schefter tweets.
I think that would be great for him, especially we don't know how long Fitzpatrick's going to be out for.
What about Cam Newton, man? He could be a backup.
What about Cam Newton? Listen, Cam Newton.
Hey, man. His old coach is right there. Don't forget, Ron Rivera's there. Again, I don't know,
but we don't know about that relationship anymore because it went sour towards the end. It went sour towards the end with Carolina.
But that could have been the organization as well, not just Ron.
Yeah, we don't know.
Again, we don't know behind closed doors if Ron was the only one defending him. We don't know that until they say it out their mouth, if anything.
And by the way, shout out to Charlie again saying the rookie cornerbacks have been great. They're actually our cornerbacks have been considered number 1 in the league so far, and they're rookies. They've been playing outstanding. Listen, Mac Jones did what he needed to do through some Tom Brady-esque plays.
Mini Brady right there for you, man.
I will give him that. But he was stoppable. That offense didn't score against us. It was that defense. That offense was put in positions because of the defense. Our defense was backs against the wall, and in the second half, especially, they didn't score much.
Take those 4 turnovers away is a whole different ballgame.
And that's why turnovers are even more imperative. And listen, I got to tell you this though. Shout out to our coach Salah. He still has that confidence.
I still think he's a good coach for you guys.
He's a very good coach. And I think we win this week. I think we go and win this week.
Who y'all play this week?
I don't even remember if someone can help me because I just know gut feeling they win this week. Because they're not going.
I know you're rooting for us this week because we're playing against the Dolphins, one of your teams. I'm still nervous about it because I know every time we go.
They play Denver this week.
Oh, so I'm gonna need y'all to win.
Yeah, they play Denver this week.
I'm gonna need the Broncos to hold that out. Andrew, I'm still gonna go against your Broncos. Matter of fact, the Jets are gonna be my pick this week. Carl, you can put it in right now. Listen, I don't even care. I will go against I hate the Broncos just as much as I hate the Chiefs. The Chargers are whatever at this point. I don't really care. Justin Herbert's a good quarterback. I give respect where it's due, as just the same as Mahomes. But when they play the Raiders, that's a whole different ball game. That's just hate straight out of it. And Andrew Vantage, the third Bronco fan I know, he wants to hang out and watch the game. And I'm like, dude, if my team loses, we ain't gonna be cool.
I have to tell you though, I'm going on air right now, and I'm saying Zach Wilson has a breakout game and throws for at least 2 touchdowns, no interceptions against Denver.
And y'all win what?
And we win by 4. We win by 4.
Okay. Y'all heard it here first. So just pull out this win.
Listen,
Mike was the first one to call it.
And I'm the first one to admit when I'm wrong. But I'm telling you right now, I'm not going to be wrong. We're going to be 1-2. We're going to try to make some noise in this division this year. It has to be where it clicks. Zach Wilson needs to really start developing that chemistry with not just Corey Davis, because Corey Davis gets double teamed a lot. He needs to find Elijah more.
Put a magic one for me. Gee, he killed me in fantasy starting.
I know.
Unfortunately.
So, all right. We could go on about football all day, but we got some playoffs coming soon enough. And the MLB playoffs are coming now. Your Yankees, or Stankies, as I like to call them, I think you and Charlie are still on the bandwagon that they do not make the playoffs. And I want to hear why.
I still believe they don't make the playoffs. I mean, Sevy coming back, that was good. He pitched well. They won last night. And then apparently you're going to have like Eddie and Declan be like, oh, well, in the second half of the season, Chapman's been balling. Okay, I peeped that. I'm not going to lie. But they should have been doing this a long time ago. There's no excuse. It should have been happening all season. Okay? There's no excuse the Yankees should not be number one in that division, in the first, not the division, because the Rays are beasts, but in the wild card. They should be number one on that. Let's not forget last week, they literally dropped the ball and dropped down to like 2.5 games at one point. You can call me if I'm wrong, if anything, correct me, by all means. But the Blue Jays are on top right now by, I believe, a game and a half. And then the Red Sox are for the second wild card by a half a game. Yankees are only down a half a game because the Rays beat the Blue Jays. Now, this upcoming weekend, I believe, is the Yankees-Red Sox. So that literally can determine everything at the end of the day. This weekend is literally make or break for the Yankees.
Well, you mentioned the Red Sox. You got to root for my boys for the next couple of games if you're thinking you make.
What you mean?
The Mets and the Red Sox.
I am not rooting for any of those teams, so good luck.
How can you be a Yankee fan and not root against your rivals and not root with the New York team? Come on, man.
Mike, you my guy and all, and a few Met fans I respect here. But I'm going to tell you right now, I don't care about the Mets. I don't care about the Yankees.
Apparently, you don't care about the Yankees.
I failed.
The
Yankees have failed me and pissed me off for a decade. And I had to constantly hear it from every single hater, particularly the Met fans. So if you really think, and I've said this plenty of times, if the Mets and the Red Sox were in the World Series, I'm not watching it. I don't care for it. I'd rather listen to Joe Buck the entire time. I'd rather listen to an entire documentary for an entire day at work, just Joe Buck reciting and narrating that entire thing. That's how much I hate Joe Buck. So I'd rather listen to him than watch the Mets versus the Red Sox. I don't care. I have to mention one thing. The Padres have collapsed.
Yes.
They're 3.5 games behind the second wild card. That is embarrassing. I don't even care about you guys have the firepower. You have these players. And you had a veteran in Manny Machado. Shout out to Greg and Jarvis bringing it up. And Paul Lawson, I believe he mentioned that as well in the chat. Manny Machado showed why he's a veteran and why veterans are needed. Because he called out Fernando Tatis. Don't get me wrong. I love Tatis. He's from the motherland. I'm going to root for every Dominican player regardless. But there's times to be mature and there's times to be – you have your moments where you can be mature and a little immature at times. But when you're in a playoff run and your team hasn't been producing well as a team, it's supposed to be a team game. You're supposed to be like, I need to do this for the team. So there was a video of him and Machado going at it. And Machado was cursing him out saying, it's not always about you. It's about the team.
And that's true.
Honestly, if Machado doesn't do that, somehow, some way, I'm hoping that they turn it around because of that moment. And it's like it brings the team together and Tatis wakes up and you know what? I got to do this for the team. I got to help this guy. Why? Because Machado, he may not have the best playoff experience or the most playoff experience on that team, but he is a veteran at the end of the day. You got to respect that man, especially he's from the motherland too. So it's like he did what veterans are known for in any team, regardless of any sport. You need those veterans. Like you said, you need a veteran quarterback to train Zach Wilson. Even if he's not starting and Zach Wilson starting, you train him. You give him the pointers. You give him some education. So it's needed. So I needed to point that out because they're making me look bad right now. I mean, the White Sox are in the playoffs, so I'm happy about that. But speaking of the playoffs, what's up with the Mets, man? Yeah, it's over pretty much.
Yeah,
it's over.
They listen. They had their opportunity where they weren't playing well, but then they had the Phillies come in. If they had possibly swept the Phillies, maybe I could say tonight, this is a must-win game. There's no way at this point.
I mean, Harper is balling, man.
But
That
I have
dude
to tell
is
you,
killing.
By numbers, they still have a shot. By
Okay.
realistic value, they got no shot.
Because it's like what? We only got like 2 weeks left of baseball, right?
Yeah, we got maybe 16 games left. 16.
Oh my God. Yeah.
So, and
might wanna-
technically, it's over. I actually hope that they shut down DeGrom. Don't let him play again this year.
I wouldn't risk
it. I want to see what's going on with his elbow, with his shoulder. I want to take care of that arm. That's our golden goose. Maybe have Thor pitch a game before the end of the season just to get him in action, just so that he comes into spring training having a game behind him, right? Having a game in his belt. But besides that, it's going to be an interesting offseason. One, because as we've heard from our man Greg, shout out to him from Smoke and Mirrors, he does not want Rojas as our manager anymore.
Get rid of that man.
Get rid of him. He has made a lot of bonehead moves. He's been pinch hitting for people, then taking them out and not even putting them in for defense. So now you're utilizing 2 to 3 players in one inning that now you have no bench. 1. 2, he's been pulling pitchers after a couple of hits and not letting them try to get out of it. He's held on to certain pitchers in games too long, especially relief pitchers. He's made a lot of bonehead moves. I have to say, I respect the fire that he's had for his team. The couple of times he's been kicked out of the game, arguing balls and strikes, but there's a time and a place for everything. I don't know if Carlos Beltran is the answer.
Yes, he is.
I'm not.
Why?
Go ahead.
I'm going to tell you why. He's a player's coach. Everybody loves and respects him. And I'll tell you this. You put Carlos Beltran to manage the Mets next year, Javi Baez and Lindor don't act the way they act. Why? Because they had too much respect for that man. Because Carlos Beltran is a legend in Puerto Rico, okay? Puerto Rican players look up to this man. And you don't have to be Puerto Rican to respect Beltran. Everybody respects Beltran. Everybody loves Beltran. Even regardless of this whole thing with the Astro scandal and everything, how he was a part of it, I'm really pissed that he got the worst of it. Why? Because he lost a chance at managing a team. Do you know how difficult it is to get a managing position, especially as a Hispanic player, a Hispanic coach?
Yeah.
Like, come on, man. This guy, first off, the GM of the Astros, the former GM, ends up still getting a job after a year of the shortened season because of COVID, ends up getting a job the next year, as well as the coach, the former manager, all other coaching staffs that were all a part of it. They still were able to manage and keep a job after, while Beltran is still in the dark. And then now it's pretty much, we don't even know if this is going to affect his Hall of Fame career. If he's going to make the Hall of Fame. That is just going to be another thing over and over.
I feel like there's too much of an asterisk now. And I don't even feel like he was a big proponent within the scandal. He was just a blip within the scandal. And look at everybody else. Look at all those Astro players, right, that were a part of it. They're playing right now, right?
They're bowling.
The manager of the Red Sox, he was only gone for what, a year? He only had a year suspension.
What, 60 games was played
because
last year?
Because it was the COVID season.
Give him a whole 162.
Right. Exactly. So I think you're absolutely right. He got the shit end of the stick. I think the Mets kind of were pressured into getting rid of him because nobody knew the severity of the situation. So I think they jumped a little too quickly until they found out the most information before getting rid of him. I think the worst case scenario, you suspend him for a couple of weeks, of the season, just to say, all right, we're punishing him as an organization, but still have him as your manager, right?
Exactly.
I think I'm agreeing with you. I actually liked Beltran when he came in as our manager. I still do remember when he sat there and watched strike 3. Kills me every time.
Oh, I love it. Shout out to Adam Wainwright. Yeah.
Adam Wainwright is still cooking the Mets. He cooked them a couple of games ago. He's freaking 43 years old.
It's all full circle, man. Love that guy.
And
Nah,
same
but
thing with Yadier Molina still on the team. This is all going full circle for me.
Yadier is a GOAT. But I would say if the Mets are watching, honestly, or anybody that works within the Mets organization, hire Beltran back. I tell you right now, Beltran manages even his first year with the Mets. If he's given that opportunity, I guarantee you that team turns around and can be instant contenders.
I think also we need a hitting coach. We need a solidified hitting coach. We need to find a way with this type of talent that we have.
You know who you should call?
Ghostbusters?
You got two people I highly recommend you get. Vladimir Guerrero Sr.
I don't think he's looking for coaching.
Or Ichiro Suzuki.
Yeah, but I don't think they go into coaching. They're too good living the high life now, retired. I don't think they go into coaching.
Sometimes they still miss baseball.
Second. You're going to try to tell me that Vlad don't go to Toronto as the hitting coach for his son?
Oh, yeah. You see his son?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Let's not forget who out of everybody saw what was going on. And I'm going to continue to toot my horn on that. You know why? Because everybody ridiculed. Everybody said, oh, Vlad he going to be the lowest. He's going to be the bottom of the totem pole. I mean, granted, Ronald Acuna is injured. Sucks. I can't wait for next year because it's going to be even more amazing to see him play. Because I love to see him play. Juan Soto is amazing too, don't get me wrong. But Vlad put his stamp on it. This man leads in every hitting category. Every hitting category except one, RBIs. He's down by like 4 RBIs. The man has over 100
Nobody gets
RBIs.
on base. Nobody gets on base for him.
Not only that, but they're in the playoffs. And I still don't understand. It's going to suck to see him not win MVP. And granted, Ohtani is phenomenal. He had a great year regardless. The man hit 45 home runs. But right now, Salvador Perez, I'm going to need him to settle down.
Jesus.
Because he just tied Vlad.
Jesus.
And I need Vlad to go in. But this is what kills me about the MLB. This is an amazing home run race right now. You have 3 players with 45 home runs.
Yep.
And Salvador and Vlad are literally toe and toe. So
and
you're telling me
talking about it. No one's talking about it.
You don't hear ESPN talking about it. Why are they talking about football? Even when the playoffs are coming for the baseball. Granted, football is here. Fans are in the stands. Great. Football is great for that. We understand that. But this is where the MLB lacks in advertising. You literally could have put every single week. You could have even put a meter on ESPN when ESPN is doing Sunday Night Baseball. Be like, okay, here's a checkup update on the home run race. Vlad hit a pop-up near the wall, almost could have been number 47. Or Salvador Perez launched the ball, but it was robbed by so-and-so. Like, you could have said these things. Or Ohtani goes yard, opposite field, hits a moonshot, ties up 46-46 to every single other player that's involved. Like, you can do this, and MLB still lacks it and doesn't do it.
Well, I miss when we had the picture-to-picture when it was Sammy Sosa McGuire. Right? Every time they played for that last final 2 weeks, it was like Sammy Sosa hits one, Mark McGuire at a 7 o'clock game hits one. Now that's neck and neck again. Like, that was must-see TV.
Exactly.
Like, you had to go back and forth seeing what was going on. But listen, I'm hearing a little twain of cockiness in how you thought you'd seen Vlad Guerrero Jr. and all this, and it actually gets us to our segment for today. I know we've been talking the last week in sports, but we get to our segment today, and this is something I thought about from seeing the Lamar Jackson flip, and I said, does that warrant cockiness? The bat flips that we've seen recently, does that warrant cockiness? And I wanted to talk about who you think, and I'm going to give you mine, and anybody that's watching, share yours as well. We want to know the top 5 cockiest athletes in any sport in your eyes. Go.
No particular order, honestly. I can, right off the top, I mean, everybody's going to put like Deion Sanders. You can mix it up because football has a lot of cocky players. But the thing is, a lot of these cocky players are legends, and they are granted and warranted to talk all the trash they want and be as cocky as they want. Michael Jordan, obviously the GOAT. Obviously LeBron the GOAT now. That's what people are going to say. We know how that goes. But Jordan, Deion Sanders, I would say, I want to throw in a little bit, but Ronda Rousey, she was cocky. She had her run, all that. And I'm glad she got her ass whooped. I'm sorry. I'm glad she got her ass whooped. because she felt like she was so inferior. Granted, she had every right to talk smack because she was beating the shit out of all these women.
Yep.
Then she got her ass whooped by Holly Holmes, and you know what? It was great. It humbled her because look what happened to her career after she got her ass whooped. Excuse my French, but she got her ass whooped, and then what happened? I don't even think she won another fight after that. Like, it was bad. It just showed that she flew too high to the sun, was playing Icarus's role, and then decided to get back down to earth. So, which was warranted, but I see her as one of the cockiest players. I mean, you could say Terrell Owens, Ocho Cinco as well, but I would even go Manny Ramirez, especially during the Yankees Red Sox rivalry.
He used to have an earpiece. He used to listen to music. That's how cocky he was. He had glasses that
my man was listening to bachata, whooping ass, hitting bombs. Love it. I love it though. Unfortunately, it was against my team, so I couldn't love it too much. And I would say the fifth, it might be tough. I would say, you know what? I'm gonna go hockey.
Go ahead.
Alex Ovechkin. I would say Alexander Ovechkin because, I would say Sidney Crosby, but I hate him. I hate Sidney Crosby, bro. But I would say Alexander Ovechkin. Granted, though, he is great. I can't hate on him. He's great. I just hate when he scores against the Rangers, man.
So
only when the Islanders play against him and he goes off, I love it. Screw you, Charlie and Carl. I'm calling you out. Islanders stink.
Let's go Rangers.
Exactly. Let's go blue.
Listen, I know a lot of people are going to think that I'm going to be saying Tom Brady in my list, but for one, I'm not going to be putting Tom Brady in one of my hate lists.
Honorable mention?
Well, he's always an honorable mention, but I am not putting him in as of right now. But I got a top 5 for you. As a Knicks fan, Reggie Miller's on my list.
Oh, I love him.
The whole choke to Spike Lee, the 8 points in 15 to 20 seconds. Just the whole aura of Reggie Miller. This guy is 150 pounds wet. He is lights out from the 3-point line, especially against the Knicks. Looks at the entire garden and gives the choke sign.
Will Trey Young?
Hold on, that was my next one. That was my next one.
I just got to throw it out there because it's recent history.
It is Trey. My next one on that list is Trey Young, and it's similar because of the whole, it's icy cold, right? Because of what he's been able to do in the playoffs. But then just in general, anywhere he was, it wasn't just against the Knicks. It was just his aura. He came into his own, right? And he became the villain in a lot of different arenas, and he took that on. So
crazy.
The certain cockiness of him. I gotta give you the male version of Ronda Rousey, Mr. Conor McGregor, one of the cockiest men I know in MMA fighting. Listen, granted, he is phenomenal or was phenomenal.
I love his promos.
Absolutely, and if he was a wrestler, he would be better on the mic than The Rock, right?
Settle down. Don't disrespect The Rock.
Listen,
don't disrespect The Rock.
I will never disrespect The Rock, but I will.
You disrespecting him right now by saying Conor McGregor better than him on the mic.
Listen,
you just said he's better than The Rock.
Stop yourself.
I'm just putting respect on The Rock's name, all right? Before you get the SmackDown,
you
all right?
and Johnson can go hang out, but I'm telling you how I feel right now.
It's The Rock. Get it correct.
It's The Rock in the area. No.
Nah. Don't do that. Queensbridge all day.
Listen, with that being said, Conor McGregor comes in with this swag, rolling his arms, right?
Oh, I love that.
He got his leg shattered last fight. He has been knocked on his bootay a couple of times.
Choked out.
Khabib
beat the crap out of him.
Nate Diaz making him bloody, hurting him. But he still has that cockiness. He still thinks he's the best fighter in the world.
He got his ass whooped his last fight and still told him, ask your wife about me.
Exactly.
Come on, dude.
As he's on the ground with his leg snapped in half, goes, ask your wife why she was calling my hotel room. I'll come see you next fight. Already calling for a rematch. You don't even know how bad your ankle is. To flip it around, though, another cocky man, Floyd Mayweather. Money Mayweather. Cocky as cocky could be.
He is.
The way he would toy with people in the ring, but then
He's
outside
smart.
the ring, he was very smart. And listen, he had that fight against Conor. It was all for the money, but he is also outside of the ring. He's one of the cockiest men. He flaunts his money. And no, Carl, don't come at me. I'm not pocket watching. What I'm saying is he shows the bundles. He'll have pictures of bundles in front of him and just say, "Oh,
anything he touches makes money, though."
Yeah, and
that's why. Granted,
that's
why he's called Money Mayweather. He puts everything. As much as I hate him, I give him none but respect because that man is a great fighter. But at the end of the day,
that is why he is cocky. And then the fifth one, I gotta say Dennis Rodman. This is why.
Really?
Yes, this is why.
Wow.
One of the best defenders out there.
Rebounders too.
And best rebounders. He never wanted to practice. He instead of being a team player, that man was off in Vegas. We saw it. Michael Jordan had to go get him.
And he still got 30 rebounds on your favorite player.
Still got 30 rebounds. So
the man didn't even need to score.
The way he walked in, you knew what he was going to put up. He knew what he was going to put up. He wouldn't even come to practice half the time. Nobody could find him. He was out partying because he knew he was still going to drop 30 rebounds, maybe not any points, because there's a couple of times he didn't need to score, but he got 30 rebounds. He was still able to solidify the paint. Now I got to give honorable mention to
Gronkowski.
Huh?
You got to go Gronkowski after this week, after literally telling the entire world, "Hey, I don't really watch film on the people that are going to guard me." That is cocky as hell.
He also did say he also said he was like he was talking to Peyton and Eli and he was like, "Oh, sorry, I zoned off. I don't really watch the games. I just watch when they're important, like when there's important time. But I don't watch the whole game. I just stare at them." He's like, the best part of my hiatus. He called it retirement, and Peyton was like, "No, that was just like a year-long hiatus." But he said when he was retired, he liked giving his analysis at the beginning of the game or at halftime because that was the only times he needed to be able to watch. After that, he didn't care what was going on. So I got to give honorable mention to our EP, Mr. Carl Coulon, as we were talking about this segment. He gave a couple of his own. He had Money Mayweather. He had Roy Jones Jr.
Yes.
He had Tito. He had Terrell Owens.
Okay.
He had Paul Pierce, his boy Paul
Pierce.
Oh,
God. He had. Why is he on here, man? Come on.
The truth. To him, he's the truth.
Jesus Christ.
We won't go into that. And then I asked him to pick a wrestler, and he picked HBK.
That's his favorite wrestler of all time. So, of course, he's going to go
Shawn Michaels. And I actually agree with him because off the air, off camera, I've heard a lot of times Shawn Michaels was not this whole pretty boy dynamic. He was more like, he
was a prima donna.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Carl. Hate me, Carl. I'm going to talk smack about your man.
But you know who else was like that? And I've heard it a lot of times, too, from people that have met him, Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan was a prima donna as well, and Ric Flair. They know they're in their oats, right? They're in
your boy is a legend. I'll tell you that right now.
HBK is a pretty boy. I can't knock HBK. I want to because it's against Carl, but I won't. But I will say that
HBK is a GOAT.
That is his top 5. Now we want to hear from you all that are watching, that watch this later on. Who are your top 5 cockiest athletes? Do you agree with us? Are we far off? Do you have anybody else that you can think of? Yeah, of course. Some people
and even different sport. Let's not forget. Mention other sports too. Yeah. We don't like in football. You could put
Zlatan.
Oh, Zlatan.
Yeah.
Zlatan Ibrahimovic.
Yeah.
That man is cocky as it comes, and that man will still score 3 goals on your favorite team.
Listen, Cristiano Ronaldo is cocky as can be if we're going soccer. If we're going football, as you like.
He's better than him still. I don't care.
Listen, but a lot of people would fight you on that.
They gonna fight. They could see me in my arena right here. I'm here. I'm in the VIP section. What's good? We have a beer after. Come on.
As every other Raiders game, where are the fans?
Oh, that's what we doing. You lucky we don't play y'all this year. Listen, you can enjoy that one.
Listen,
this was the shot of the pre-COVID. All right. Let's see how beautiful the Death Star is.
I don't know. We'll see. That might be that.
Well, because then I'll tell you this: you're not gonna be able to see it because the minute you step in with your Jets jersey, you're gonna be knocked out on the floor. Just know
I
that.
fall right into the black hole, right? But that looks like week 10
yes,
right
sir.
now. That looks like every week 10 in Oakland. I don't know. That's what it looks like. With that being said, what are your hands of the week? Your final thoughts, Manny?
My hands of the week. Oof, I had to think about this one, but I'm a damn. It was tough to even mention. But my hands of the week is to the NFL. Roger Goodell and every single referee and the people that decided to make this whole taunting penalty a thing. Because as we've seen in the past 2 weeks of these stupid taunting penalties is getting out of control. People are already pissed off about it. If you go on social media, like you can't even spin the ball. You can't spike the ball. You can't do anything. Like seriously, it's like if I even breathe or even step over the player that tried to tackle me, but I scored the touchdown, I stepped over him after he almost tried to injure me. It's an issue. I get penalized for that. Then I get fined and I screw my team over. Nah, come on, man. That's ridiculous. It's annoying. Roger Goodell should be ashamed of himself and the person that actually came up with this idea to even bring it up. A taunting penalty. You're just looking to make more money and take money out of these players' hands and affect teams during the game. A taunting penalty. Are you serious? So that means, mind you, wasn't it last year that they even allowed the players to even celebrate? So you make one rule possible, and then you decide to make another rule where it completely makes the previous rule relevant. So NFL, Cassie's hands, Roger Goodell, I'll see you in Midtown soon because I need to pay a visit to your office.
I will tell you, I'm gonna give my own hands, but I will agree with you. I actually saw it in the Tampa game. Mike Edwards gets the interception, runs it in for the touchdown, celebrating with his team, and I think he just did a finger roll of the ball into the uprights, and they gave him a taunting penalty. And he even looked at the ref like, really? Like, I just got my second interception, second touchdown within like 10 plays. I can't celebrate now. Like he just looked at him because I listen, I don't know the player that well, but he looked like the type of player that's like he doesn't really get penalized like that. Like he's not
exactly.
Like
how many defensive players get pick sixes?
Right. Twice.
Or recover a fumble and score in the end zone.
Right. And he got it twice. And he got it twice in the same quarter. So yeah, listen. Stop hating on them and let them celebrate. I will tell you, Ed Hockley's son, Sean Hockley, was the ref in the Jets game. And he doesn't get the hands of the week. He gets the hat tip of the week. That man so eloquently described every single penalty to the point where you were like, I didn't even know that the rule book was like that. This man described everything and even apologized when he made a mistake. That's the first ref I ever heard say, I apologize. There is no penalty on the play. That man, I tip my hat to him. But my hands of the week go to the New York Jets fan base. Coming after Zach Wilson and his mom. What is wrong with you? This is why QBs don't succeed in this league as a New York Jets organization. Us as fans need to stop with the pressure that we're putting on these young quarterbacks that don't even have their feet wet. They've just dipped their toes in the water. They have not gone in the water yet. You need to be patient. Every organization goes through hiccups. As New York Jets fans, we know these hiccups have been more like belches because of the amount of years that it has been of just disgrace. I see you fans. I'm a Jets fan for life. I see you wearing the brown paper bags last year on your heads. I promise you, in weeks to come, you will be able to pull those off your head and see that this team is rebuilding in the right direction. But give it time. Give it time. Out of those 4 interceptions, I blame Zach on 2. I blame him on 2. On the other 2, I don't blame him. I just think they were wrong plays called by the offensive coordinator, not by the quarterback. And because of his noviceness and rookie standards, he doesn't know how to check it down and change the play on the fly. He'll learn that. I think what we've seen so far in 2 weeks is the poise of Zach Wilson still being able to come out and still being able to play, still driving them down. There was no reason why that team should have went for 3 on 4th down and 7 near the end zone. They should have let Zach Wilson build his confidence. You knew, yes, all right, we needed points because we were down by 3 scores. You still give him the confidence builder. Let him get the touchdown. Show that he can be a leader so that us as fans don't go and write stupid tweets and harming tweets to him and his family. You were praising this man. You were praising this man too.
On draft night.
On draft night, saying we got our star. Let him be. Let him develop. Don't come at him and his family already, because what you're going to do is you're going to get in his head where you're not even going to get the best out of him. The booing needs to stop. It's week 2, as Carl has alluded to, as others have alluded to. It's only week 2. If it's week 6 and we're 0-6, we're having a different conversation. But we're 0-2. Let's see what we can do to bounce back. We have an actual reputable coach now. And I say a reputable coach because of what he did as defensive coordinator for the 49ers, as you've already seen with our defense this year. Now we just got to flip it on offense. And I think we will. So fans,
I mean, I could say one thing to you, Mike. When Derek Carr first started his rookie year,
David Carr?
Derek Carr. You gonna call him Derek this week because he's 2-0, all right? But I believe he was the Raiders were 0-11, started off 0-11, I believe, his rookie year.
I think they did.
So and there was plenty, and there were plenty of people coming. I've seen on the Raiders sports forums and Twitter and all that. They were killing him. And I'm like, yo, it's his first year. He's not his brother, and let's not forget his brother had no offensive line at all. Let's not forget that with the Houston Texans. So again, you know, just try to be patient. The fans are the fans, regardless. They're gonna kill him regardless. I mean, the Raiders are 2-0, and I'm still seeing on Raiders sports pages and stuff on Facebook and Instagram, the comments, they're still killing Carr. All Carr is terrible. I'm like, huh? Carr has thrown 817 yards. All right? He threw 1 pick in 2 games. Threw a couple touchdowns. Without Carr, we're not 2-0 without Carr. All right? People don't realize that. But again, it's the fan zone. So the fans are the fans at the end of the day. So what's your prediction? So you already gave your prediction about the Broncos taking that big fat L, which I will love. So I'm gonna need y'all to keep that promise, because
listen, if I was on the field, I'd be able to say I'm bringing it. Listen, I'm gonna be sitting on my couch eating my wings and drinking my beer. So I don't know how much I can really do. I can try to will the wins, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I'm hoping the Raiders pull this one out. I think it's still gonna be a tough matchup, regardless who we play. I still go week by week. You know, we're doing well. The defense is improving more and more, which I love. So hopefully we keep that same pressure and continue to come at Miami this week. We play against Ricardo's team. So I know me and Ricardo are going to be talking back and forth all Sunday. So, you know, shout out to the entire Sports Hit List group with all the shows. We got the live show Wednesday, back tomorrow.
Coming back.
My show's fully back. That's what I love to hear. I believe we have the B Show Thursdays with the lovely Deborah Voltaire Coulange.
That's right.
And then we have the Smoke and Mirrors gentlemen.
New time. What is it?
Yes.
6 or 7? 6 or 7 and 6 or 7 on Monday. I think it's 7 o'clock on Mondays.
Yes, it's right before Monday kickoff.
Yep.
And I believe on Fridays.
5 o'clock.
5 o'clock on Fridays, I believe.
5 o'clock.
Shout out to Greg, Deck, and stuff. And that's really it at the moment, you know. And again, catch us next Tuesday. We'll be talking. Hopefully, both our teams have won, and for me, hopefully, the Yankees have lost their playoff hopes. As much of a Yankee fan I am, me and Charlie have been pissed off at the Yankees, and rightfully so. So whoever's in the comments commenting, I can't really see right now, but I will see after the show is over. But to those supposed Yankee faithfuls, because I've only seen 2 people talk about the Yankees faithfully, and that's Eddie and Declan. So I can give them their little flowers only if Carl, and if the Yankees make the playoffs. Regardless if it's the wild card.
I'm not giving you an if on that. I'm giving you a fact. Come at me, Eddie, and come at me, Declan. The Yankees are not making it to the playoffs. And if you make it to the playoffs, the way Garrett Cole just got shellacked by the Twins,
No, Indians.
Indians, excuse me. The Indians is the exact same way he'll get shellacked in the playoffs. You guys are not making it far. Pack it up just like the Mets. And just like that, we're going to pack up this show. Manny, we are the Fan Zone. By the fans, for the fans. We want to hear from you. Anything you have, comment, like, subscribe. As you have heard from Manny, we have a lot of different content on the sports hit list. And we are building and building even more because of you, the fans. I'm Mike Phillips. My co-host, as always, Manny Schefter. We are here every Tuesdays, 5 p.m. We'll see you next week. Let's go, Jets. Screw the Raiders.